Hi, I'm Brian Grant, and you're listening to On Time, the Brian Grant Foundation podcast about living with Parkinson's. If you want to know more about Brian Grant Foundation, go to briangrant.org.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, which is made possible by the generous support of our donors. Please consider supporting our programs to empower people impacted by Parkinson's to lead active and fulfilling lives by making a donation at briangrant.org.
Hi, I'm Larry Gifford, host of On Time, the Brian Grant Foundation podcast, and president of PD Avengers. You can find us online at pdavengers.com. Welcome to episode 3 of our 4-part series exploring life after a Parkinson's diagnosis. Because yes, folks, there is life after diagnosis. It's often more creative, adaptive, and surprising than you'd think. This episode is called Permission to Pivot. Because Parkinson's, it throws curveballs. Simple things like brushing your teeth, writing a grocery list, or trying to button your shirt suddenly takes more time, more energy, or just needs a different approach. But pivoting isn't giving up. It's leveling up. It's learning workarounds, picking up tools, making smart, small changes that keep you living your life on your own terms. Today, we're diving into the art of adaptation, hearing from people with Parkinson's who've turned detours into discoveries with hacks, humor, tech, and tenacity. Because every pivot reminds us we're still moving forward. We just are finding new ways to get there. Let's do this. Take a look around your place. Is your home Parkinson's ready? Here are a few quick fixes. Clear out the clutter. Less furniture means more room to move. Get rid of or secure rugs. And if you can, bring in an occupational therapist to assess your space and suggest low-effort, high-impact changes. Let's hear now from Kevin Kwok, Bill Buckalew, and Yvonne Jackson sharing some of their favorite Parky life hacks.
For finger dexterity, I'm starting to play the ukulele to teach myself.
All right, how's that going?
Really bad, but I have fun.
Well, that's the most important thing, right? Is that so? Does it do anything for you, like just sort of energetically, or?
Oh, totally. I mean, every morning I'll sit there in the chair after my meds take effect, and I'll sit there and pluck a few things, and I'll never be in a major concert anywhere. But that work on the dexterity and the dystonia in my hands has been wonderful.
That's great.
I have a similar story. My second grade guitar teacher put his arm around me and told me the guitar is not for you, Bill. And I quit it a week later. In COVID, with Parkinson's, bought a used guitar, tried playing it, and couldn't. And then I saw this video from Kevin Cronin of REO Speedwagon playing Time for Me to Fly, and he's taking his finger, going like this. He's doing all his chords by taking a finger and pressing full bars down. It's called open D tuning. I tuned my guitar. I read on YouTube how to do it, and now I can play almost any song, and all I have to do just slide my finger up and down. Now, I'm with you. I'm not going to be in any concerts, but it was amazing, and I love it now. So I'm just constantly trying to learn new songs with this really easy way of playing. You can do 6 chords.
How does that make you feel?
Amazing. It was always in the back of my head because I love music, and I didn't get any credibility because I couldn't play an instrument. Now I can play an instrument. It's just, it's very rewarding. Yeah.
So I learned to play the piano.
Oh, good.
I bought my husband my husband was a jazz aficionado. He loved jazz. And I thought maybe he would want to, and he loved the piano in particular. So I got him a piano years ago. Baby grand, had a player on it, the whole thing. It was a big birthday and a big present. He never used it. And so when we moved to California, I said, you know what? I'm going to get a piano teacher and learn how to play piano. And I did. So I'm still working on, like you, I'll never be anything.
I think we've got a band right here.
The same thing. I love it.
All right. Speaking of rhythm, if walking gets tricky or you freeze, try using a metronome app. That steady beat can help your brain and feet sync up. Some folks also use laser devices on their shoes or make wider turns because the tighter the turn, the more likely you are to fall or freeze. In the kitchen, Weighted utensils and spill-proof mugs are a good start, but TikTok legend Jimmy Choi has some next-level advice for chefs with Parkinson's. It's knives out for one troll.
So Chris here says that I shouldn't be using knives. Simple as that. Because I have Parkinson's. So what you're telling me, Chris, is that anybody who is dealing with any kind of adversity in life should just give up on things that they're having difficulty with or on things that might provide a challenge for them, right? That's what I'm hearing. Instead, what I like to tell people is that when life throws an obstacle in your way, you should find ways to get around that obstacle. I love cooking. And yeah, it's true. I'm not as fast at cutting or as precise as I used to be, but I still love doing it. So I do the little things that's going to help me succeed, even though I am facing a difficulty. For one, notice that I am using different knives for different jobs. Second, when I activate my muscles, the tremors lessen. So you'll notice on this particular cut, I actually started moving the blade well before I positioned it in front of the onion. Notice the hand position and the knife position. The tip of the blade never leaves the cutting board when I'm cutting. My knuckles push against the blade so that I lessen the chance of the blade actually catching my fingers. The bottom line is, when life gets hard, you find a way to do things or else it will get harder. Please stop encouraging people to give up the things they love.
And a few other kitchen hacks. Put a non-slip mat under your cutting board. Use jar openers or jar levers to get that stubborn lid loose. Wear an apron. A wipeable or disposable one saves time. This is for eating, by the way, not cooking. An apron or a bib could be a difference between what ends up in your mouth and what decorates your clothes. Oh, yeah, coffee is still on the menu. Here's Dr. Michael Okun.
Hey, folks, I've got your tip of the day today for Parkinson, and it's all about your coffee. And it turns out that there is this myth that if you drink coffee and caffeinated beverages with Parkinson's disease, it's going to make your tremor worse. Well, it turns out there's a whole bunch of research. And in fact, there was even some research by Ron Postuma who thought that maybe the motor symptoms of Parkinson would actually get better from drinking coffee. Well, it seems that the actual facts here are that coffee is not going to make your Parkinson tremor worse unless you're drinking like 6 to 8 cups of coffee a day. It turns out that caffeine can make certain tremors worse, but the weight of the evidence says if you want to have your coffee with Parkinson's disease, that's totally fine. So this has been your tip of the day. Check us out at parkinsonsecrets.com for all the good living tips and hope that you have a great day.
Back when Rebecca and I hosted When Life Gives You Parkinson's, we spoke with folks across the community about their everyday tips. She sat down with care partner Deena Grinnell, who's married to Jim Smurden.
Yeah, so little life hacks that have helped us. So Jim was diagnosed with Parkinson's when he was 33. And so he's a young man, generally, and had a lot going on. So we found that the first things that were really noticeable was that really limited dexterity in his fingers and hands. And then, of course, the sleep, sleep disturbance, inability to turn over in bed. And micrographia was one that was really problematic for him very early. Micrographia is when their handwriting becomes very small, and it's very hard for the brain to tell the fingers what to do. And those were the signs that I knew he had Parkinson's a couple of years before he was diagnosed, because they're so classic. But at any rate, so we had to start to divide and conquer on the areas where dexterity really mattered. And like I was saying, he was an incredibly fashionable guy wearing suits and buttons and ties every day, and eventually those had to go. Find a way to look professional, but don't rely so much on all of those doodads. And even footwear, I've noticed. He's got a great selection of footwear, but he more often chooses footwear that has a super smooth bottom because of the shuffle, because so many floors will grab soles, right? Sticky soles, running shoe soles. But if you have a smooth bottom, he can maneuver himself around a lot easier. His Crocs may not be deemed as fashionable by the hipsters, but they certainly allow him to move the way he'd like to.
Well, then, and that kind of is counterintuitive if you think about it, because if you think you don't want to slip, because most people are thinking about slipping around and not wanting to, they kind of want that grab, or else they'll trip or whatnot. So it's completely different for him.
Yeah, that's right. The shuffle is advantageous, and then that's where he needs to move. He hasn't had balance issues so much until very recently.
Okay.
And so that's starting to be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, there's that. And then we started riding our bicycles a lot more because walking any distance is now really challenging, and it always was. And he didn't like it in part because I think the physical effort, but also because of the appearance of his walk. It's just difficult, and people wouldn't understand what was going on. So using a bicycle gave us a new freedom. We felt like kids again because we both hadn't ridden much as part of our habit. But yeah, it made getting around town easy. And whenever we travel now, we will rent bikes and use that as our way to get around. And it's a huge freedom for him, even now. He walks with a walking stick now, and that's been another good hack. He started using one not because he had balance issues, but because he could use it as a metronome. And he was shown that using the walk as a kick device would ensure that he picked up his feet sufficiently to make the full step. And I think he really found that kind of a great tool when he started to use it. And he also found that people then identified that his walk wasn't because he was a drug addicted freak. It was because something was going on that he needed a walking stick. And I think he found that signal also made him more comfortable with the way things were.
Okay.
Nowadays, walking is getting harder. He's got a lot more sort of dyskinesia in his upper body movement. So the shuffle and the kick and the challenge of moving one foot in front of the other, it's now exhausting. Another hack we've figured out recently is most major department stores have a wheelchair that you can borrow, and the airports are far more helpful around accessibility than we had explored in the early days. So we've learned to ask for those devices and use them, and it sure makes him a lot more comfortable because getting around in a crowded space is difficult. Here's another hack. Don't look at people. Because if you don't look at them, they look at you and they'll make way. But if you look at them, they expect you to move. And Jim can't move and respond to people behind. So I kind of have to swim him upstream through a crowd like that. And I found the not looking people in the eye made that a lot easier. And then there's the seize the day piece. You know, it's not much of a hack, but it's also that you really do have to take advantage of the times and the abilities that you have. We didn't know so long ago that Jim would be doing as well as he is today. And so we're lucky. We've been able to travel. He was able to work full time up until this year. So 15 years of work. And he's still working, just not quite so much. But do the trips that you want to do. You know, buy the car that you want to buy. That was one for him too, actually. Is he had to think about this. This might be my last car. What should it be? And we got a dog. And the reason we got a dog was in part we wanted one, but also because it forced him to get outside every day and to have that demanding presence because we don't have kids, to get home from work. We were both workaholics, and to take the dog out and have something to focus on. And it was incredibly useful. It was really, really good for him. And he loved walking our beautiful dog because it would distract people from how Jim was walking and they would just be watching this beautiful dog. And I know that was a good thing. Oh, there's so many things we can say. I mean, a little bit of divide and conquer happens in every relationship. And it certainly happens when you have to assess and have a joking way to acknowledge, right? You know, play to your strengths kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because some days there's some things that Jim just shouldn't spend his time trying to do. And I feel fine about being the backfill. And then there's other times when I know it's going to take him 3 hours, but I ask him to do it because he's got 3 hours, right? But yeah, you really do have to be sensitive to that because certain frustrations aren't worth it.
Yeah.
If you can figure out how to divide the labor around the house a little bit more.
Well, and it's still a partnership, right? You never want to let that go. And if it becomes 90-10 on everything, except for him exercising or him working or, you know, whatever it is for him to take care of the Parkinson's, then it's not a partnership anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So a little bit of tough love goes a long ways too. And I think that's part of the reason why Jim has continued to be as able as he is we haven't really discussed not. So
you never discussed
we haven't discussed his inabilities.
Oh, got it.
Right? So you kind of pay attention and you know, but at the same time, we haven't said, oh, okay, maybe it's time for this or that. He can still do everything. Some things take him longer. Thankfully, he's a motivated individual. So his interest in his motorcycles and his friends and so many different things that he researches, his work, cooking, like he continues to explore those interests. And I think that's really, really important. He has fended off depression, which normally goes with Parkinson's, I think fairly heroically. And part of that is by staying really active.
Yeah. I think community is a hack, and that doesn't always come naturally. I'm pretty introverted, and community has never been, it's one of those things where like, I get it. I value it when I have a community. I appreciate it. You know, I never sought out a community. I never saw it as part of my well-being or self-care or personal growth or anything like that. And this has been a wake-up call where that's concerned. And I found this community in particular to match me pretty well as far as general personality and sense of humor and edginess and all of that. It feels very comfortable. It's very welcoming, very easily. Like you're immediately welcomed into the club. There's no discerning or checking you out or, you know, all of that stuff that comes with some of the baggage with other communities and groups and things, right? It's just kind of like, oh, you're one of us. Come on in.
Yeah, I felt the same. I felt the same kind of welcome. You're absolutely right. And I think I am probably more like you when it comes to the breadth of a social circle and building community, whereas Jim makes a good friend out of absolutely everybody he meets. That's his natural style.
Yeah.
And I envy that. It's one of the things I love about him. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's nothing, I think, more destabilizing than not having an outlet where you can share. And he does. And he has wonderful friends who are willing to talk about this, which is also, I think, really great.
Tons of gems in that conversation. Oh, and here's the truth. A Parkinson's diagnosis will change your life, but it doesn't have to define it. Yes, you'll make adjustments. Yes, some days are harder than others. But lifestyle tweaks, meds, and most importantly, a mindset shift can make a huge difference. Here's Margaret Burns-Kohn. She's had Parkinson's for 15 years.
You have to wake up every day and really gear yourself to finding joy that day. I have a friend. I've never met her. I'm an ambassador for Abbott, and she was referred to me. She texted me the one day and said, I fell on the bus. And that was all she said. Makes me tear up. So I responded to her and I said, I bet it was the best choreographed fall ever. And I said, now you need to go home and send me a note by the end of the day how you found joy today. And she texted me that night and she said, I found joy because my curtains for my spare room arrived. And I just burst out laughing. Number one, that brought me joy. And number two, I thought to myself, it's those little things that you have to go and find.
Yeah.
And you can say to yourself, I was so thankful that the curtains arrived today. They look great. That's joy.
Give yourself permission to adapt. Flexibility is a strategy, not a surrender. Here's PWP Richard Huckabee on keeping that humor and perspective alive.
I say, find out what works for you and do it. My daily mantra is every day I fight. We all are fighting something, and we have to fight to continue, fight to move. And I found that movement is truly your medicine. Any type of movement. If you just have to walk. If you like biking or recumbent bike, just do some type of movement and you will improve your life tremendously.
Does that include rocking in a rocking chair?
No.
Damn.
Not rocking in a rocking chair. You have to get up. You can walk around that rocking chair. It includes that.
Here's something fun to try. Name your Parkinson's. Seriously, lots of folks do it. It gives you a way to externalize it, take back some control, and sometimes laugh at it. Whether it's Mr. Parky, Parks, Lord Trimmer, Dr. Freeze, The Shadow, or just Fred, you are in charge. Let's talk pills for a second. Don't tilt your head back when swallowing. Seriously, that actually closes off your throat and won't make you choke. Instead, tilt your head forward, take a sip of water, put the pill in there, let the water carry the pill to the back of the throat and then down. Need levodopa quickly? Chew it. Let it dissolve in your cheek. Crushing pills in carbonated water or orange juice can speed up absorption. The fizz and acid do the work. Here's Jimmy again with Allie, Signorelli, and Michael Fitz talking about dressing smart.
I got a lot. Where do I start? But I think I love cooking, so a lot of my hacks are going to come from the kitchen. Number one, always have sharp knives, because number one, it makes the cutting easier. Number two, if you cut yourself, it doesn't hurt as much. Second thing is we struggle with like pinching and grabbing little things, right? Like little grapes, picking them off the vines. So one of the hacks that I like to share is you take the grapes, put it in a towel, and then just rub in a circular motion. All the little grapes come off the vine, and now you just got loose grapes.
So you put towel on top of the grapes.
Yep, on both sides, under and top. Create a little bit of friction, and then just rub in a very gently. Don't squish the grapes, in a round circular motion, and the grapes come off the vine.
Good tip. How about you? You got any tips?
There's an app on your phone built into every iPhone. You can list every single med you take. You can put a picture of it. You can describe it by color. And then you have to check off when you take them. And you can set an alarm so that you don't forget.
I do that too.
You do?
Yeah.
It's great.
So mine has to do with fashion. So anybody that knows me knows that I usually wear neckties or bow ties, but sometimes it's hard when I get up, I can't tie my tie because I'm having a bad trimmer day. So what I do is I pick out a shirt that's got a bold design on it because it distracts people from seeing me with the tie on when they're expecting that.
That's great. That's great.
Can you pre-tie?
See, my hack for that is actually just to buy a clip-on. I know that's
blasphemy.
Yeah, that's
blasphemy. I tell you, no pre-tied ties.
Early in the morning, getting dressed. If I have to put on a shirt with the buttons, it takes me an extra 7 to 8 minutes, depending on how many buttons there are.
Yeah, it's bad.
I put my morning meds on my bedside table.
Oh.
So I can take them right when I wake up, and I lie there for about 20 minutes.
That's nice.
Instagramming, of course. And then I get up.
Back to the kitchen. I found at Amazon, there's this can opener.
Mm-hmm.
Just slides on there. You push the button. It goes all by itself. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Instead of trying to turn the crank and
those are awesome.
Those are some great dressing hacks. Here's a couple more. Magnetic buttons or Velcro on shirts, shoes with zippers, slip-ons, or elastic laces. Oh, and here's Dr. Okun slipping into some comfortable shoes.
Hey folks, here's your Parkinson's tip of the day. It's about getting your shoes on in the morning or any time that you want to go out. Now, it turns out that having a shoe that comes all the way around the backside of your foot will help to keep you stable, make sure you don't trip, and make sure you don't fall. But shoes can be hard to put on in the morning or at any other time. So if you get one of these nice long shoe horns, usually made of plastic, you can slip your foot in here, and then instead of fighting, it can push right in there. Okay, so again, I can slip my foot in here, I can push the plastic here, and I can pull, and then I'm all in, okay? And so this is a great way to get a good pair of shoes on. You can slip those shoes off, and then each time you need it, you just have this long shoe horn, and it's a great tip. So we have lots of great tips for you, free at ParkinsonSecrets.com. So join Indu, Johnny, and I, and we're happy to show you some of the great things that might be able to help your lives to live a little better. Have a great day.
Dr. Okun and Dr. Ray Dorsey just released a new book, The Parkinson's Plan. Grab it wherever you get your books, or visit pdplan.org to learn more. 5 more tips before we wrap. Add Velcro to your cane handle and to furniture so it doesn't fall out of reach. Ask a pharmacist for easy open, non-childproof bottles with large print labels. For grooming, brace your elbow against your side to reduce tremor while brushing or shaving. Bathroom safety tip: install a 0-step shower. And here, use a shower stool or a chair. This changed my life, by the way. I had an occupational therapist recommend it after complaining about how tired I was. She said, Larry, you just woke up, you're standing in the shower, navigating a wet floor, back to the shower, head back, eyes closed, trying not to fall. You're using all your energy just to clean yourself before the day gets started. Get a shower chair. Oh, life-changing. So yeah, pivoting isn't always easy. Sometimes it feels clumsy. Sometimes it feels unfair. Sometimes it's the very thing that opens a door you didn't even know was there. Living with Parkinson's means adapting every day in big and small ways. But with each adjustment, each workaround, each new way of doing an old thing, you're proving something powerful. Parkinson's may change how you move through the world, but it will never define your worth, your joy, or your purpose. Your story isn't on pause. It's still being written, page by page, pivot by pivot. Thank you for being here and listening. And remember, you don't need permission to be brave, but just in case, you've got it. For more tips, community classes, and resources to help you live well with Parkinson's, visit briangrant.org. You can also check out episodes 1 and 2 of this podcast series, Permission to Play and Permission to Fly. Next week, Permission to Laugh. For the Brian Grant Foundation, I'm Larry Gifford. We'll talk again soon.
The Brian Grant Foundation empowers people impacted by Parkinson's to lead active and fulfilling lives. Help support our efforts at briangrant.org. A special thank you to Raphael Sadiq for providing the music for this podcast. This podcast is produced by Brian Griggs. Learn more at griggsproductions.com.